Guys ready over there? Sure.
Jackson.
I will call this Ridgway Workforce and Affordable Housing Committee to order.
Howie Kroger. Not present. Kevin Gravely,
Here.
Beth Lakin.
Here.
Michelle Montague.
Here.
Terry Schuyler.
Here.
Josie Scoville.
Here.
Don Clark.
Here. You guys might want to turn on your microphones. We have one action item tonight under the affordable housing, and it's really fun.
I don't know.
It's right in the
You have to be thinking positive thoughts.
Okay, all right, item number one, qualification of purchaser of Vista Park Commons, PUD lot 8, parcel number 430516060008, 260 Red Cliff Drive. Angie.
Thank you, Mayor. So I've not participated in a workforce and affordable housing committee meeting yet. But my understanding is that this is gonna run like an ordinary public hearing, allowing time for public to speak, and I believe there are a few in the room that do want to speak, so that will be important. So the Vista Park Commons Planned Unit Development Plat was recorded in August of 2023. With language assigning a deed restriction to lot 8 and lot 22 of the development. Lot 8 has been constructed, so this hearing is to determine if the applicant is qualified to purchase the unit based on the deed restriction. So the restriction identifies certain requirements for initial sales price. That step has already been completed by the developer and staff, so that's been set. Other requirements in the deed restriction language include occupancy for someone that earns or has earnings related to jobs based in Ridgway County. And then that person or household has an income limit as well. And this is set by comparing their earnings to see where it lands on the area median income chart, the AMI chart. There's also an appreciation cap that comes with the deed restriction. And the actual language on the plat has been included in your packet. So I won't go into too much detail, but according to the current plat language, the income limitation for a qualified purchaser is no more than 80% of the area median income. But given that the actual costs for developing the unit exceeded what would be affordable to somebody earning 80%. Considering a variety of factors, but based on that like widespread idea that 30% of their gross income should not be, or more than 30% of their gross income shouldn't be spent in housing, or 30% is the marker for what's affordable housing. And that's kind of a standard rule. So in the staff memo, I provided a summary of the materials that were submitted to us. That will allow your committee to compare the applicant's information with the deed restriction language. And some of those materials, I can list them off, include an application letter and acknowledgement of the deed restriction. That's dated November 7th. A letter of employment from Vista Park Development LLC. And other materials from the applicant's employer. A cover letter, timesheets, pay stubs, and a filed tax return for 2024 from Rainbow Accounting Services or Service LLC, sorry. And then there's been a bunch of that information omitted or redacted from your packet, but that played into our analysis. And then there's a letter of support from Vista Park Commons HOA President Tony Brandt, who's also present. So an analysis of the materials found that the applicant is an employee of Vista Park Development, which is the developer of the PUD and the units. So this confirms that the applicant is employed by a business based in Ridgway County and earns a majority of their income in Ridgway County. Also of note, the applicant currently receives housing as part of their compensation from their employer. So we've been informed that this will result in a pay increase once housing is secured that's not employer owned. The resulting annual salary amount is anticipated at lower than that AMI target. And then there's a letter that includes the total income for 2024, the tax return filed for the same year, stated that the earnings were lower and that a certain number of hours were worked and paid. And that other hours were worked for sweat equity, but no explanation of what the sweat equity agreement has been submitted. So the sweat equity statement has also been struck with a note that says the strike through was due to many changing opinions on what sweat equity means. And then we have an email included in the packet from the developer explaining that the unit has been advertised and that there was no interest. So they've identified the applicant themselves. Additionally, the letter of support included in your packet from the HOA president expresses support for the applicant for homeownership within the community. Also acknowledging that the applicant helped construct the homes and has been hired as the maintenance professional for the community. So I don't have anything to show you on the screen. If you want to look at the plat, you can. But to conclude, the deed restriction language included on the plat fails to explicitly call out the possibility or prohibition of developer-led identification for a qualified purchaser for the unit. It doesn't explain what proof of fair marketing of the unit is satisfactory. And it doesn't contain anything about whether the information about income can contain the sweat equity or other compensation for work. And then the application process was not specifically called out on in the plat language. Even so, staff think that the committee can consider all of the materials provided and qualify a purchaser, and that transferring the property can be allowed, but staff can't offer a recommendation for approval or denial based on ambiguity and lack of clarity operated in both the submittal materials and the plat language. So it'd be up to the committee to review the plat's deed restriction language and determine if there's enough evidence to support qualification or if there's enough evidence to deny qualification. If approved, staff does recommend that a more standard deed restriction identifying the initial sales price, the appreciation cap, and items related to the qualification and enforcement of future purchases at the time of any transfer. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Any questions?
So, reports. We have questions for your staff in general.
No.
Okay. Preston, is it right that we are treating this like a public hearing?
Yes, sir.
Formal public hearing process. Okay, so then, we should give the applicant and with his team opportunity to respond. Well,
See, Jack.
My only comment is that we have another one of these in the project. And I realize this was done, approved, this plat, et cetera, or the approval of the project was done years ago. But, and Angie wasn't part of the town then. So she's had a real challenge. But I want to share with you, as much as there were a lot of people at this recent thing about, oh, we want affordable housing, and I think it's great. But I want to share with you that there's not been one person ever come to see us about wanting to get that affordable housing unit, not one. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't people out there that want to do it, but let me propose to you a couple of thoughts. Do you think it's backwards possibly that we are out there, that we're obligated to find the buyer for it when we can't tell them what the price is until it's been built? And here we are for our own shortcomings as well. 6 months later still, or 5 months later, still on the topic. And I'm just saying that we have another one that's identical to the one we just did that has to be built. And if we can streamline this, I've asked Angie if and I'm saying to you as the board, if we can streamline this, I realize it's an old project, and you have new rules, et cetera, with, you know, to me, it's crazy to try to, the most expensive per square foot little building or unit that we built in the whole project was the one where the two, it's a duplex and Tony here, the president of the association, lives on the other side of it. Those are the most expensive units in the whole project to build per square foot. Not to build, but per square foot, because that's the nature of really small, high density mechanical. There's one of everything and there's only 494 square feet to put it in, so it gets off the top on the price. So what does that point to me? As a builder, architect, you know, it's the town doing a big building that maybe people don't think is a popular deal, but that's the most cost effective possible way to charge developers like us upfront so much a unit or so much per dollar of anticipated cost to build them in case it's this giant luxury project. You know, to charge it up front, get the money for the town and hire a contractor and put it on some town property somewhere is gonna be the most streamlined, because this has been really painful. Ronnie's worked for me for 20 some years and we're selling it to him for less than it costs us to build it. And I'm happy about that. I mean, who better, but would I do that for the general public? Hell no. Hell no, you know, it's just, but, so that's what we've done. And that was a challenge, you know, to figure out, well, is he gonna be acceptable? I don't know, well, who else is there? So that's all I have to say, is I was happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Jack? Any questions?
I really hope that you guys take that on board, because I know that there's a huge amount of focus and attempt. It's a hard one. There's no easy answers about affordable housing. I'm telling you, I know you know that, but the big project paid for by the town, standard fee to developers, let them go do what they do, get the money. And they'd probably be willing to pay you more than it costs them to build it, just to not have to deal with it. It's probably a benefit to the town and subsequently to the project that you built, but that's what I would recommend. You know, this whole concept that it's better to have them, the folks that need afforded deed restricted housing should be all mixed equally through. That's a great concept, but at the end of the day, it doesn't work economically. And the only thing that in reality is gonna work economically, and you can say, oh, it's like the communist block buildings, well, that's not necessarily. But I don't think that the economic reality, which is where the challenge in building affordable housing exists, allows that kind of random put two units, but they can't be, the duplex can't be both sides of a duplex. It has to be in one building and then another one that which will build. So my request is that if there's somehow between staff, and these guys have been really trying to figure out how to make it work, given the plat notes, how it worked. If we can just come up with what the price is, in advance, we'll build it. You guys tell us who you want in there, boom, done. But we can't market it in advance when we don't know what the price would be until the whole thing is done, and then then the question comes, well, did you market it? Yeah, the realtors had it marketed, but without a price.
Well, I don't know, I think part of the problem here is that what you're discussing is, beyond the scope of the application.
Sure.
So if we're dealing with the public hearing about this application, it's a separate discussion, really.
Fair enough.
And I think we need to have the conversation, but, there's a lot of different factors and, we just can't get into the
Fair enough. Let's get it.
nitty gritty on that. My question is mainly about the sweat equity piece. While I value that, it's typically done in Habitat for Humanity projects, things like that.
Right.
It's not typically done in your average deed restrictions.
That's how we started out, and we just paid him for the time he had, because there was like, you can't do that kind of thing on, well, why not? It's the essence of.
But it's not documented.
Right, so we threw it out. It isn't in the calculation at all.
So there isn't sweat equity.
There is no sweat equity. He's been paid for the few hours that it was, because we were just getting started on it. And although I think that it's a really good approach, that is
That's
the question at hand.
The process needs to be structured for that, like it is with Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah.
That's outside the scope of.
Yeah.
So, Any other questions or comments for them? Okay, then I will open up the, public comment. Anybody in the room or on Zoom want to make a comment? Come on.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tony Brandt. I'm the president of Vista Park Commons HOA. And I have a letter in your package, the last page of your package, in support of Ronnie's application here tonight. We, the board, and together with the 12 occupied homes, 12 of 23, resoundingly support Ronnie's application as an ideal candidate for Lot 8. Ronnie is well known to us as one of the builders of our homes. He has been a constant presence amongst us for over a year, and we, the HOA, have hired him as our maintenance man, a paid position. And having him be on site to do that job is really invaluable in maintaining the integrity of the community. He is responsible for all our landscaping, clubhouse and hot tub maintenance, and snow removal. Ronnie has been a resident and employed worker in Ridgway for over 25 years, I understand. This is his first chance at becoming a homeowner. We're excited for him. I understand he is approved for his mortgage and he's ready to close. Our board and community requests that you give full consideration to his application. He would be a valued addition to our community. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks.
Any questions, Tony? Anybody else want to make a public comment? You get on Zoom, if you don't know how to unmute, just raise your hand, just go ahead and unmute. Hearing no comments, I will close the public comment section and bring back a clear for deliberation.
I think a lot of the things that make me concerned about this marketing and fairness, we started to address by hiring our housing services administrator, because that's part of how we're gonna help market this, so people know where to go. Right? It's not super profitable for a realtor to market it. Unless you drive through and see a sign in the window, you don't know they're ready. I had no idea your unit was on the market, and generally I'm fairly dialed into that. And so the more I think about it, there is some incentive for a developer to have somebody who's worked for you in the community for a while move in to a home. I love the idea. I would love to see it as many as we can have marketed publicly, but you know, hey, we're gonna sell this one to a local employee. Like, that's pretty hard to close. Right?
It sounds like we need to.
We're working on moving forward, having a better streamlined process, but it's sort of hard for us to hold a developer to a process we haven't streamlined yet.
But even, I guess what I'm saying is, I kind of walked in here initially being like, it should be marketed, and I'm like, actually,
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
you know, building a home that an employee can live in and own,
It's great.
that's a really admirable goal and a lovely way to look at things. Now, that's gonna be constrained to a particular industry, and so we don't wanna see that in every instance.
Mhm.
But it appears that Ronnie qualifies, and I
have no problems
with
with
an
it.
issue with it.
No,
Which is great.
Okay,
Ready for motion?
yeah,
I move, that we approve the request to qualify the purchaser and then that transferring the property can be allowed. And also I wanted to add about the staff recommending, I agree with the staff recommendation of recordation of a more standard deed restriction identifying the initial sale price and the appreciation cap and items related to the qualification and enforcement of future purchasers at the time of any transfer.
A second.
all right. Motion by Michelle, second by Josie. All those in favor?
Okay.
Any opposed? Oh, nobody's on one side, okay. All right, passes 6-0.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been up there
Congratulations.
a long time up there. Welcome to
Yeah.
Congrats on buying it all.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, with that, I will close the workforce and affordable housing committee meetings and adjourn this morning, and then we'll go to our regular meeting.
You guys don't have to stay if you don't want to.
We're gonna,
We're not-
not gonna be here. We're gonna think about it.
Okay.
Celebrate.
John, I always tell, first time I came to Ridgway, worked on your house.
Oh.
Long time ago.
Now's the Brent sitting there. I was about to have my first out, and he was sure that I was gonna have John Junior. Where's the girls? Any little trick?
Wow.
All right,
Maybe don't.
I will call the regular Ridgway Town Council meeting, Wednesday, December 10th, to order, and ask for a roll call, please.
Counselors Scrambley,
Here.
Felder,
Yeah.
is absent, Montague. Here. Skylar.
Here.
Scoville.
Here.
Mayor Pretend Lincoln.
Here.
Mayor Clark.
Okay, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I don't have anything, Mayor, but I believe you have a brief statement to make about the situation at Mountain Lodge.
Yeah. I would like to just make a quick statement regarding tonight's agenda. The agenda has been modified from what some of the public may have originally seen to remove discussion regarding the Mountain Lodge. Without going into specific detail, I would like to note that town staff is in discussion with Mountain Lodge and its representatives regarding the large blocking off of rooms for those working at Four Seasons in the Mountain Village. While taking into account how the related impacts might vary for some segments of the community. Any agreement between the town and Mountain Lodge will need to be ratified by the town council and will be on a later agenda. At that time, council will recognize public comments and town staff will outline the terms of any proposed agreement. Thanks. That brings us to adoption of the consent calendar. Is there anything on there we need to pull off, or is there a motion approved?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Motion made seconded by Terry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And passes unanimously. That brings us to public comment. Is there anybody in the room who wants to make a public comment about something not otherwise on the agenda? Come on up, Carolyn.
And I didn't miss it. Carolyn Dressler is my name. And no, I do not live in Ridgway, but I'm interested in a project for all of Ridgway County. I presented to the Board of County Commissioners on this topic. And when I drove down here for another meeting, I did not bring my 2 big jars of cigarette butts. And so with the Ridgway Uriah Community Council, we clean the highway from Ridgway going north. And this last time, so we do that twice a year. And I asked them if they would please save all the cigarette butts because we're picking up cigarette butts. It's the #1 littered product in the world. And so heaven knows we have that here. Know that we're giving those small liquor bottles, but not near as many as cigarette butts. So it's quite ugly and disgusting. Cigarette butts are not biodegradable. So if you know that UN plastic treaty that was being presented, so one of the major issues in that was single-use plastics. Ridgway was the first place in the state, if I'm not mistaken, that did single-use plastic bags to be banned, right? Well, I'm wondering, can we please ban single-use cigarette butts? So bringing that forward and know that Santa Cruz County and the 2 cities within Santa Cruz County have banned them. It's the first place in the world, but they have done it. And they did that together and it will go into effect in January of 2027. But they got tired of picking up the cigarette butts in the beaches. And so here we have a problem of some cigarette butts along the streets, but we certainly do along the highways. And can we do that? And so as a single-use plastic, can we ban cigarette butts? And I'd be happy to share the documents that they passed in both the county and in the 2 cities. So very similar to Uriah County. So is that something that we can do?
Also a fire hazard.
Yeah, that's the first thought I had. I've seen people flicking lit cigarettes out the window along the highways around here and just scares the heck out of me.
So if cigarettes have chemicals in them that perpetuate their burn, they won't go out on their own, whereas a cigar, you can start to burn, and it'll go out.
It's true, that's all true, and they're full of toxic poisons. They actually, so some of the parks have forbid them when you're fishing. Because they flick them in and then it kills the fish. So nicotine is a very powerful pesticide. So no, there's nothing good that's in cigarette butts, much less not biodegradable. And they stink to high heaven, I'll just tell you those 2 jokes.
Yeah, where do you keep your jars?
I'm sorry,
Where do you keep your jars of cider?
they're in the garage right near the door. Experience.
Well, why don't you, forward your documentation, your information to staff, to Preston and Open.
Okay.
And, we'll take it up, we might send it to the Sustainability Advisory Committee or something like that.
It'd be cool, because then I haven't spoken to the city of Uray yet. And if you wanna see the jars, I will bring them back in another meeting.
I really want to, actually.
They're very gross.
We believe you.
Very gross.
We clean.
Yeah, we do the come out this way, yeah. so. We see it too.
We
We see more liquor bottles than cigarettes that way, yeah.
They could also be lost in the grass.
Yeah, I would say it's hard to find the grass would be, maybe so we see each grass. Well, thanks for bringing that to us. And we'll-
All right, so I'll forward them.
Depressing, yeah.
Great, thank you very much.
Right, you're welcome. Any other public comments? All right, hearing none, I will move us on to public presentations. Updates from representatives of Art Space and Asset Living regarding the Art Space Ridgway based curriculum.
Good evening, John, Mr. Mayor, Council, Preston. It's really a pleasure to be in front of the council again. Andrew Michelson is my name. I'm from Art Space Projects. Had a great pleasure of visiting Sweeney. I think north of 2 dozen times. I was trying to do the math as we were driving in today. But they also blend together in all of them brings.
It's been
Pleasant memory.
easily 10 years.
I don't think it's been quite 10 years, but maybe I feel like it's been 10 years.
It's gotta be 8,
Yeah.
because it took us 8 years to build it. Anyway, that's
In
right.
2006.
It's been a long time.
Was 16, in any event, I am here today, I'm joined by Will, who I think some of you also know, is president of Art Space, as well as our colleagues from Asset Living, who's our management agent of the property. To ensure that we continue to have a good relationship with the town, to continue to have good lines of communication, and really frankly, just to demonstrate that Art Space is still here. And we're still very committed to this project, committed to the mission, and continuing to be good stewards of this project, as well as all of our projects across Colorado and more broadly across the country. So Will and I did just tour the building, which is wonderful. We had not yet seen the mural, so we're gonna come back tomorrow morning and get some nice photos with it. And really are quite pleased at the overall condition of the building, it only being a couple of years old, but having had some turnovers in the units, we see that it's being well maintained, it's clean. We spoke with some of the residents, actually, Emma, who was one of the potential artists for the mural. She's doing, I don't know if you call it an exhibition she's using the Decker room to create art. And really, we're pleased to see the activation of some of those spaces. All that said, we do know that there have been some concerns raised, over the course of, bringing the project online and during its operation, a lot of which I'm going to defer to my colleagues from Asset Living to discuss. Some of which, we can be public about, some of which there's some privacy rules in place. But really just wanted to ensure, both as council, the community more broadly, that we are still here. We're not present, we're aware of what's going on. We want to encourage there to be the open lines of communication. And I know that in recent conversations, a lot of those inroads have been made, particularly with Asset Living, the staff that is now working at the property. And ensuring that the town has those avenues to go through. And conversely, we know who we can go to at the town and a conversation with Marshall and Tara using the Decker room. A lot of that has really kind of been reestablished, and there's some, I hope, some continued presence of the same people going forward to make sure that we continue on those great paths. But also, not going to shy away from there's hardship sometimes, and if there's questions, concerns, comments, we're here to address those this evening to the extent we need to. But really, don't have an agenda other than wanting to, look you all in the eye and say, we're here, we're happy to be here. I'm glad that, it's 50 degrees and not 50 below, which is not quite what we're dealing with in Minneapolis. But it's a project we hold dear, and myself personally in particular. But as far as the Art Space project, it's not gone forgotten, it's on our list, and it's something we work with Asset Living very closely with. They manage a number of our properties, and it's a relationship we hold value in, and we don't want to ensure that the town sees the value there too, not just in the relationships, but in how the project delivers on that mission and continues to be an asset and contribute to the community. So I'm happy to pause there, take comments, questions, or have Asset Living come up, and then we go forward from there, however you'd like to proceed.
Did you get a chance to see the battery, the microgrid?
I did not go on the roof today.
Solar's on the roof, batteries down on the utility room.
Just see in the utility room with the batteries in it would be pretty cool.
So we did not go in the utility room. I did go in the trash room though. Because that's always.
I could meet you tomorrow and give you a tour of the
Yeah, that'd be great. I wasn't expecting to go on the roof today. I mean, it's just, I do like to go on the roofs, but winter time sometimes maybe not so much.
Warm up tomorrow. I have one question that, has been lingering, the insulation of the drain pipes, the sewer drain pipes through the Decker room.
Yes.
Remember we talked about that?
Yes.
Early on, whenever you're having a meeting in there, you hear people basically flushing the toilets and bringing water out of the sinks, and it's kind of, everybody giggles, but
Right.
it would be nice to have those
It's
insulated.
very loud, yeah.
Right, and I know that we have talked about that, and it wasn't something that was a part of the original plans, but it's absolutely something that can be done. I don't know that we ever got either the, or at least the town directly got any quotes for actual installation of that, but that's absolutely something we do. I was actually walking through the deck room today, which is activated beautifully. There's some nice, furnishings and
Sarah's done this.
some investments in audio video equipment. Like, it really looks great. But I was actually looking at some of these sites. I'm like, I can't tell if I didn't reach up and grab them, but I was reminded that was something. So be happy to pick that up and continue the conversation.
Yeah,
It's not a ton
If I
there.
remember correctly, it's probably gonna be our responsibility to pay for it. Maybe we can work out a partnership deal on it or something.
Yeah,
You guys are in a better place to find out what it's gonna take and what it would cost.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I know that it's easy enough retrofit. And have to be identifying which of those are actually drains,
They're actually marked.
Well, that would make it.
Yeah.
But yeah, having to take that out, I honestly thought that it might have already been done, next to knows.
Every meeting you hear it.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Any other questions for them?
No, welcome back. Nice to see you.
Yeah, let's see you all. I hope that they're, I know you've got an agenda this evening, I'd love for the opportunity to more casually convene, but. A pleasure and we're honored to be a part of the project meeting, so.
Hopefully you don't have to run off tomorrow.
We are flying out tomorrow afternoon, but we were in Carbondale last night and we made the drive down today, and we're here. We're utilizing the new facilities that they've been renovated in Chipeta and sort of, putting our commentary on what was our favorite hotel, being a little bit different these days.
Been there for a long time.
But, outside of this, conversation, I was actually driving in Louisville today. And we did a little quick tour through the town and looking, I see there's some new developments, some positive proposals. But the character of this town doesn't, from my perspective, really feel to have changed, and it seems like it's being approached in a very thoughtful way. So that was, still kind of looks and feels the same, but the firehouse. Holy Hannah, I mean, that is beautiful, so, kudos on a lot of the initiatives and and it's fun to come back and see that, so.
Well, I'd love to connect with you guys first thing in the morning, so.
Yeah, we're not running right out the door, we need to leave by 11 or 15 something. So that's it. We have to invite the asset living team up and have to rejoin if there's any further question or comment.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you all.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Andrew. So he's a little bit taller than me. My name is Josh Morris. I'm the Regional Vice President for Asset Living. I won't say where I'm based out of, just so my reputation is maintained.
Thanks for being here.
No problem. Glad to be here. I truly love Ridgway. This is my first interactions with Ridgway since July. I've been a part of this southern Colorado area, and it's been amazing. We have Chad here, who's our community manager. And I'm sure once we get some questions, I'll have him come up. And then we also have Maria, who's our assistant community manager at Ridgway. So Maria's there part-time and Chad's there part-time. But we haven't had as much support as we have right now for Ridgway Space to Create here. They've been doing a fantastic job. They truly care. We care as a company, as a management company. And Space to Create has to be a location where it's just automatic that you take pride in this beautiful building. The mural's amazing. I mean, I just love being a part of it. So I appreciate being a part of it. I met with Tara, I don't think she's here tonight. No, she's not. I don't see her. And I wanted to meet Preston. I haven't met him in person, but looking forward to working with you guys and being a part of this project. So yeah, any questions that you have?
Listen to Josh.
What's our current vacancy?
So right now, we have 3 apartments vacant here with 1 in the process of moving in. So we only have 2 left. to move in, so we're working really hard on that. We're hoping to focus on the people of Ridgway. And hoping to focus on artists, to come in and join us. It's, a little bit more difficult to rent these ones because of the income threshold, but we're working on it, so.
What income thresholds are available right now?
This one is 50%.
60.
60%, both of these are 60% that are,
Is there any issue with advertising? Cause I saw a post on Ridgway Rentals today, but I didn't see that, was the income level in there?
No, I just said that we had 2 vacancies.
I would totally throw that in
I
there,
would.
cause I was like, I've kind of forgotten that those units are blocked out, but that would be really helpful for folks, and even maybe like. In parentheses for 1 person and for 2, but that would be really helpful, folks.
Anybody else? I imagine there might be some questions in the audience for everybody.
I see some lovely residents.
Come on up. Yeah.
Do you want me to take the seat?
Yeah.
My name's Alex Menard. Sorry, I'm not talking very well.
That's all right.
Hope you can hear me, but
I can hear you.
I've been a resident since it opened. I came here to be there and I love it. It's wonderful and the town's wonderful too. And I thank you all for making it happen. I do have a couple of issues and one of them is kind of a real basic one. It seems like since it is income based, that they don't just annually once ask you about your finances and qualify you once. Many people have to do it repeatedly during the year. It's just kind of funny that they can't do it once a year. You know, I mean, I'm on Social Security, right? My income doesn't change that much during the year. And other people I know are in the same boat. And there's no reason really to have to go through that more than once a year.
So you're saying people have been required to verify their income more than once a year?
Yes, yes.
Do you guys have a response to that? See, that's what you say, Mike.
Well, they don't understand. Their problem is they've been through 4 managers in 3 years.
Yeah.
So I don't expect you guys to really explain it.
Well, you're going
Excuse me.
Yeah.
What happened is,
Come on.
sorry. Excuse me, my name is Maria, I'm the insight management for now. We had some problems with the management and the annual recertifications is a process that it's not our choice. It's by law, we have to do it. And it got late in some years. So for example, it was supposed to be due in November of 2024, but it was done in April of this year. And that's why like people had to do it in April and then again in November because their annual recertification dates is November. So that's the only case when it happens more than once a year. And
November.
So do you guys do everyone all at once, not just on like lease renewal?
no, it is on lease renewal. That's just an example in November. Well,
So you're confident that at this point, it'll get back to being on lease renewal?
yes, with management on site and we're keeping track of all the recertifications. That should not happen. It should be just a once a year process.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. That's a pretty simple issue.
Can I just add a piece to that? I mean, in their defense.
Yeah.
Hi, Will, good to see you guys again. Also, any change in household makeup of any kind triggers a new recertification. So there are other reasons, right, that happen. If your girlfriend moves in or you have a child, but there are a variety of other reasons that will trigger a new certification process. Or qualification process for that. But if nothing's changed, it reasons too.
Sure.
You may hear that, oh, I gotta do it again, but there's an actual reason why they're
I
asking.
don't really want to go too much on that.
Yeah. I just wanna make sure that.
The other issue is something that has just happened at the state level. There's a new Colorado law, it's HB 25-1207. And it actually mandates that any state financed affordable housing projects must allow attendants to have 2 dogs or cats, regardless of size or breed. Do you guys know about that?
What was the?
It's called House HB 25-1207. Okay, so that's fairly simple and straightforward, except it's not. And I mean, I already gave Maria, she looked at it, and I'll give you this. This is an explanation, it's just an AI explanation, because I mean, I don't know how many attorneys we have here tonight, but I'm not one. And I don't know, you guys aren't one either, but this is what the interpretation is. The reason why they wrote the law in the terms of insurance is because rental agencies use the insurance as a reason to deny people to have multiple dogs. But the reason of this is to allow more shelter pets to be adopted. That's the whole idea of it. And I don't know which guy of you guys, should I give this?
Give it to Pam, Tom.
Thanks. But I mean, basically. Basically, that's the purpose of it. And I don't have my dogs there, Terry knows that.
Yeah.
My dogs have a kennel, but someday I may want, when they get really old, I'd like to have them move in. You know, they're already pretty old, but anyway.
Yeah, so double-edged sword, we've had some issues, from what I understand, with people having dogs there that would.
Well,
they're trouble, so.
Well,
But
the
that's.
reasonable conditions, it's in here. It says landlords still enforce rules like leash laws, waste cleanup, and all that. But I mean, the whole point is to allow more dogs to be adopted, to get more homes for dogs. And that's why our state is in the forefront. And once again, thank you for Art Space. I think it's wonderful.
Great.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Al. Yeah, and at some point, we'll be curious to hear your take on that, what do you think, because I know, technically, there's some state funding in that project, but it's primarily federal, so, yeah, come on. Your thoughts?
When Alex presented me with that law, I did some research, and that law applies only to buildings receiving new finance after January 2026 or refinancing. And also, from my understanding, is mostly related to renters insurance and not being able to charge an excessive amount of insurance per pet if one of those breeds are not covered in the lease.
Okay,
That's one of.
that's helpful, thank you.
So the state funding for the what's it called, the Main Street funding? Doesn't our space receive that?
No, that's town property, that's town, and it's probably something we need to just look
Look
into
in-
separately,
I
and
Just our
we're not
space.
gonna resolve it tonight, so.
I think they must receive some state funding.
Well, we'll look into it, and if we can.
Main Street, it's called Main Street.
Yeah, there've been Main Street funding, but it didn't necessarily go to tar space, it went to the town.
Oh,
So, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
What's happened prior to that initiation of this law?
so what I just wanted to say is, to the extent we do have state funding and this applies, of course, we'll follow the law. This was news to me, happy to take a look at the law and we can dive into the finances of this. I think there technically is state funding through the first mortgage, but the rest of it is all technically private. Even though it's federally subsidized, but we do allow pets. I know, as you mentioned, there have been some issues with a tenant in particular that's being addressed and those pets, but as an art space policy broadly, we want to allow pets in our buildings. People consider them family and we're allowing that. And we typically do place, limitations on its number. Sometimes there's breed restrictions, sometimes that's by ordinance where a project is located. And pet deposits, and to the extent there's damage and requirements of that is pretty typical, but if there's a new state law compliance thing we need to take into account, we're happy with these.
Good, great, thank you. Anybody else in the audience? Ask questions or anything else?
Mr. McCabe. I have lived in the building for 3 years. I have been the one who has been making the lobby an art space as it was intended to be. And I probably put at least 100 hours into creating a venue that works for the community. And the last 2 years, I've been part of the many residents who have complained about the lack of good management and cleanliness of the building. So I was one of the 2 people that put together the complaint and demand that required art space and asset management to honor their lease by providing the services that they are required to do. Because all of our pleas have fallen dead ears. So I'm not gonna go through the litany because everybody's heard it. But I would say that the improvements did start with Josh. He has the right attitude. He wants it to be the space to be, all it can be. He wants to utilize people that can make that happen. Maria has been really great as the lease, on-site lease person for us open. She engages, she follows through, and she's handling the management of places that should have been occurring all along. I don't have a problem with the other gentleman. I'm finding it similar to what we experienced before, closed door, condescending attitude, maybe later. And we're done with that. We're done with that. So I have directed those concerns to these parties directly. But I'm saying, I'm also would like to say that they have made progress about evicting the one tenant that has been a problem for 3 years. They've been living with illegal activities for 3 years. And they also have improved the staffing as I described. They have not cleaned yet. 2 months. 2 months, no professional cleaner. Still the hall is stairways stained. I'm told that then in January they intend to power wash and then stain, but they don't feel a need per Chad that to really have anything cleaned before then. We have those stairs have not been cleaned in a year. So I've been very loud. I'm tired of it. You know, I pulled the artwork. I said, no, I no more contribution to you clean this place out. There is progress. But 2 months later, no cleaning crew. And it's lovely to meet you, gentlemen, but I have seen you to not for excited, not suspicious in the citizen, which wait. So, yeah, I'm here to say, great on certain improvements, like the certain things didn't happen to the day when you guys were coming, you know, the garbage room promises 2 months ago to clean it up. Well, it did get swept out the day before they got here. But when I approached about the stairwells, you know, and just insisted that at least be washed, you know, I was met with vague, you know, later stuff. And he said, I'm not paying my rent to clean the stairs. So I did not. The stairs got cleaned once, and it's a year full of stains and bacteria from the dog excrement and everything else. So I understand that Maria has taken the name of the cleaning crew that works for the town. I see them over the Deborah room, 4 women at a time with a supervisor polishing every surface, you know. And Tara's aware of this too, and has been all along. And you guys have a great cleaning crew, and there's no reason why we can't have a great cleaning crew now. And that does not take time. That does not take time. It should have already occurred to meet their response within 7 days. They promised deep cleaning twice a week. We still have an older Mexican lady using a leaf blower and a dirty bucket of water. And she only did the stairs because I insisted, and he made her wash the stairs. And then I paid my rent. So I'm here to say positive things as far as progress, but still problems remain. And the place is not clean. And it needs to be, that needs to occur in the past. It's
That's one observer, thank you. I'm sure we guys are ready as well. Anyone else? Anybody on Zoom? All right, well, I thank you guys again for coming. Really appreciate you being here, both asset living and airspace. I mean, I guess I would just sum up by saying everyone knows how much we value our space, and the Space Great Building in particular. There's always been debate on whether it's met its goal, but I have no doubt that it's definitely met the goals that I had for it when it was first dreamt up. And I'm super proud of it. So I just like to see that continue. I think there can always be improvements made. I think better communication between all parties is essential. And I think Tara does a great job of that, and I count on you guys to continue that. And we look forward to just continuing a great relationship all the way around, so. Thank you for being here, and unless there's anything else on the side, we'll go ahead and move on. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, y'all.
All right, that takes us to some public hearings. It's a big, December is always when we have to things like approve the budget. A couple of ordinances, but we're start off with item number 9, which is application for a restaurant liquor license from Maven Restaurant Group LLC. Members Adrian Alvarado, Nicole Jeffress, Joseph Londres, doing business as Maven Local Eatery, 540 Front Street. And the family will take this item.
Yes, thank you. The town has received an application for a restaurant liquor license from Maven Restaurant Group to be at 540 Clinton Street. This is a building that was renovated a few years ago and has the building and an outdoor seating area. Both of those areas will be used for the consumption of alcohol. So the applicant is looking at licensing the building and a patio on the east side of the building. The applicant has leased the premises for a 5-year term and has met all of the requirements for the licensing process. And they are present in the room if council has any questions.
Okay. You want to make any comments? Just introduce yourself, come on up. Sure.
Hi, my name is Adrian Alvarado. I am one of the owners of Maven Restaurant Group and Maven Local Eatery. We are so excited to be here and coming into the community. We've had such a great response and such a warm welcome. This is one of those places that I'm sure, just like with everybody else, holds a spot that's near and dear to all of our hearts. And we're just really excited to really just throw ourselves into it and become part of the community, really be engaged and be somewhere that everybody can go and enjoy themselves and eat wonderful food and have some good drinks. And that's kind of what we are. So
we're super excited to have you open the place. We're anxious to see something happen there for months. So
yeah,
it's great. You have any questions? What you got planned?
And we're planning on opening up here pretty soon, but we're gonna do a approachable farm to table restaurant. We work with a lot of local farms, local meat providers and things like that. We have years of experience working with Michelin star chefs, between me and my business partner. And so we really want to take away the stigma of fine dining and just make it really approachable. Just good quality food that's at a good quality price. That's gonna be accepted by everybody, by locals and by the travelers alike. So that's it right there.
I know, that's a little spot on my block.
Oh man, it's beautiful.
I know we're all pretty excited to see some life and kind of draw town together between the park and the rest of Clinton Street. That's a good spot.
I think so also. We have plenty of space over there to get everybody over there and be able to have meetings and get involved with the chamber and other things in town. So that's really a focus of ours.
I know.
Great.
I look forward to it. We're all in town.
Thank you so much.
All right, any other questions? So we're going to make a motion.
Mayor, it's a public hearing.
Public hearing, apologies. We need to ask if there's any public comment. I'll open the floor for public comment. You can Zoom or you're in the room. Hearing none, I will close the public comment period, bring it up here for debate.
Debate. Now I'll move to approve a request for a liquor license for the Maven Restaurant Group LLC.
I'll second.
All right, motion's made by Terry, seconded by Thad. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Congrats.
Thank you so
Looking
much.
forward to seeing you. Know.
See you guys forward to being part of the community.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, that leads us into a number of ordinances in a row here, having to do with the budget and the resolution, I should say, on adoption budget, property tax levies and all that, so Pam, take it away.
Yes, we're here. The council has had a number of public hearings and meetings and workshops to discuss the budget and the capital improvement plans. And the document before the council tonight is the final draft of the 2026 fiscal year budget. The budget needs to be adopted by resolution. The first resolution would be adopting the budget for the calendar year. And also a resolution appropriating sums of money to the various funds. There's 3 funds that we operate under: the general fund, the water fund, and sewer fund. So those items are in your packet. The budget itself is attached to that first resolution. We also need to tonight look at the adoption of the mill levy. So that's the property tax levy for the year 2026. And that is certified to the Erie County Commissioners. So there is also a resolution in your packet to adopt the property tax levy. And the other items for budget adoption will come up later in the meeting.
Okay. And again, because this is a public hearing, I think what I'll do is I'll open it up for public comment on resolution number 2511, which is adopting the entire budget for the calendar year beginning the first day of January 2026. Any public comment on that? Either on Zoom or here in the room? Hearing none, I will close the public comment and bring back up here for any other discussion or motion.
We've seen these numbers 3 or 4 times. So I'll move to adopt resolution number 2511, Ridgway adopting a budget for the calendar year beginning first day of January 2026 and ending the last day of December 2026.
Second.
All right, motion made by Terry, seconded by Joseph. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Passes unanimously. Now we'll open it up for public comment on resolution number 2512, appropriating sums of money to various funds in the amount and for the purpose set forth below in the 2026 budget year. This is just kind of pertinent to the budget itself. Any public comment? Hearing none, we'll close public comment and bring back up here for discussion or motion.
I'll move again to adopt resolution number 2512, Town of Ridgway appropriating sums of money to the various funds in the amount and for the purposes set forth below for the 2026 budget year. 7.
All right, motion made by Terry, seconded by Kevin. All in favor?
Aye.
You opposed? This is unanimously, thank you. Lastly, any public comment, opening up public comment for resolution number 2513, adopting property tax levy for the year 2026 for certification of commissioners.
I moved to, sorry.
Hearing none, I'll close public comment. So we have a question.
Yeah, is it, the tax last year, the rate?
The levy?
I don't really understand the mill levy.
I'm sorry, well, I didn't hear you.
Has the mill levy changed at all?
No,
Yes, it has changed slightly from last year.
well, the mill levy has not
Not,
changed,
but,
but the
the mill levy
valuation.
has it, but the amount that we're receiving is. Has received.
Based on assessed valuations.
The town is de-bruised, so we have a set amount that we calculate for mill levy at.
Okay.
Any other questions? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
It's fine, thank you. But it's, appreciate it. Any other comment? Your motion.
I moved to adopt resolution 25-13, adopting the property tax levy for 2026.
Second.
All right, motion made by Beth, seconded by Joseph. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? That's unanimous, thank you. That I think completes that item.
Yes, sir.
But that takes us on to adoption of.
Thank you, Ben, for all that.
Yeah. It's not without saying that this has been a big process every year, and town staff does an amazing job budgeting responsibly. It's particularly encouraging to see that the town of Ridgway is in such good financial shape while many of our neighboring communities are struggling. You know, that it doesn't mean that we're, you know, a whole lot different. It's just that we do a great job. Our staff does a great job of planning responsibly and being conservative in their estimates. And it's paid off for decades now. So huge thanks to the staff. With that, I'll move on to item number 11, which is adoption of ordinance number 04/2025, amending chapter 15 of the Municipal Code concerning vehicle idling restrictions. Question.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So this is a public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 04-2025. Members of the Sustainability Advisory Board have collectively expressed a desire to regulate vehicle idling to ensure that the practice is mitigated and to complement the Idle-Free Ridgway campaign that's been around for a number of years now. Over the last several months, Sustainability Advisory Board members have done some research on vehicle idling restrictions in other communities. And they focused on crafting restrictions that they believe fit our community, and that's what's before you, or that's what would be enacted via the ordinance before you. And more specifically, it would enact a restriction on any person to idle or permit the idling of a motor vehicle for 2 minutes or more within any 1 hour period of time. And as we talked about last month, the ordinance provides for several exemptions, including emergency vehicles. There's more than that, just trying to give an example. Happy to answer any questions. Again, this is a public hearing and second reading of this ordinance.
Great, thank you. And again, since this is a public hearing, I will open up for public comment. Anybody have any comments on this ordinance?
Sure.
Come on.
Hi, Tanya Ishikawa. I just wanted to say that I'm happy that you're passing this, having lived close to businesses in Ridgway and having so many people park in front of those businesses and idle has been annoying, both the, you know, emissions themselves and the noise and everything. So I really appreciate this ordinance. Good luck enforcing it. I know that's the hard part.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Most of y'all know me, Jeff Tunnicliffe. I oppose this, and I'm gonna keep it very simple and to the facts. We all know how cold Ridgway can get. I personally have seen -26. Your viscosity of your oil on your vehicles. So take a 20-weight diesel truck. It can't run after 2 minutes. It won't go in gear after 2 minutes. Not to mention the viscosity of your oil will not be between your rods and your pistons. So we pass this and you start giving people tickets for this, it's town going to then put themselves up for liability to be sued when a motor blows up. It's very simple. So you have your different weights on your numbers. The 5W, the COW, the Tony, that's a winter rating number. It talks about the viscosity of the oil that you put in your vehicle. A 20-weight oil would not get into your rods or into your piston cylinder rings until it's 70 degrees. So if it's -26 in the wintertime in Ridgway, in the morning, you got to start your car. 2 minutes will not let that car warm up enough for that oil to be into the motor to put under strain and drive down the road. And that's facts. That's very simple, clear, cut and dry. I'm gonna tell you right now, I get tickets and my motor blew up, I would come after town for enforcing that law. And I think it set us up for liability and tax dollars being wasted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would say, well, first let me open up any other public comment. Either in the room or on Zoom. Okay, I will close the public comment period. I would say, and maybe it's something we need to look at in modifying the ordinance a little bit, but that to me, the intent of this ordinance is to restrict idling of vehicles once they've already been driving for a while and they pull up in front of the hardware store and they're idling. So this is different. You're not going to necessarily get a ticket if you're idling in front of your house and you're trying to get your diesel vehicle up to temperature. So I think
That's specified in law.
Right, I should say that does raise a really good point.
Totally right, that's no good.
Should we consider idling in your driveway is different from idling in front of Cimarron. Idle your truck at your house.
Also can't come out because the truck was.
Well, let's go-
We closed public comments,
Yeah,
right?
so I'm actually advocating for what you're talking about, Lynn. So, I mean, or should we?
I'm already concerned about the complaint-based aspect, and then we're for.
No, it's on public rights of ways, because nobody has parking lots. So if you're parked at Cimarron, you're in public streets.
Right.
Town takes care of the circle at the post office. I mean, if we restricted it to public rights of way, that gets into it. Yeah, but at some point I have to draw a line, and yes, you could be parked in the right of way, but at some point, if we're going to do the thing that we need to do for air quality reasons.
Could there also
enjoy-
be a temperature thing?
No,
then?
guys,
Again, it's a public hearing, so we can't take any more comments from them. Thank you.
so. Splitting the difference, the simple way to do it is to maybe consider amending this to. Town, you may not idle in town rights of way.
I would suggest that since this has come up, we table it and we'll send it back to staff to look at alternatives that have worked in other communities to address the diesel idling question. And whether it's, I mean, I could imagine it either being that suggestion of on both right of ways or in front of your own home.
Like I had to start my car for more than 2 minutes to drive my kids to school this week because my front windshield's frozen over. I mean, there's a million reasons that we need to have our vehicle running for more than 2 minutes to have the car be operating safely.
Your car, you can scrape your windshield, like that's a different thing.
Yeah.
No, I had no snow on my windshield, it was frozen.
I scraped mine this morning, I did the same thing.
Okay, I'm concerned about the public enforcement of this because it's basically just asking our neighbors to complain about us. And I'm concerned about the safety of our vehicles and safety of driving down the road. I don't agree with the 2 minute rule.
Since this first came up, this has been a little bit of a sticky wicket.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of different ways, and I agree, tabling this, use some more discussion.
Yeah, tabling it for now, we're not telling, I think what is important for me is we're not telling the sustainability advisory board that we're not passing this. We're not telling residents who think it's important that we have a no idling resolution, that we're not doing it. That's not the idea here. The idea is, how do we write this well for a mountain community?
Correct. Is there a consensus on?
I voted against it.
Oh, okay.
Barry, how do you feel? This is
Well, the intent of it is clearly to reduce pollution in our community, not to have a brown cloud hanging over our town. That's the intent. The details are sticky. Non-diesel vehicles actually get damaged if you idle them for more than a few minutes because it creates alcohol from the gas and destroys the rubber. So there's different facts for different vehicles, but the intent is clear. I think most of it was aimed at, in deference to Dana, who did the heavy lifting on this, was her concern over people idling while they're at the post office. I mean, that was really the what kind of drove it. So you bring up a good point. I think it needs to be looked at. I agree with tabling it. We'll see what we can do to modify it to make sense, but theoretically, it's to encourage people to not use diesel vehicles. I mean, ultimately, so there's the intent versus the practicality, and there's a transition period as technology changes. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. But I think we're still gonna look at some sort of a compromise. It's enforced by complaint, and I doubt anybody's complained about you idling in your driveway. So I don't think that's gonna be a major issue. So we'll take a look at it. Oh, you did? I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Preston, are you okay with?
Yep, we have the directions. Bo, do we need a motion for tabling or anything?
No, I think, well, I think because there's staff direction, let's go ahead and get a motion to direct staff to revisit some of the concerns that were raised during the public hearing, the table.
I'll move to do just that.
Did you say?
No, I'll second it. I was just giggling, but yes, I'll second it.
Motion to definitely revisit some of these issues.
And your water
Things like that.
Like drink.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Nothing.
Take that.
So you see, that takes us to item number 12, the adoption of ordinance number 05/2025, amending chapter 2 of the Ridgway Municipal Code concerning compensation of town council.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So this is another public hearing and second reading and a follow-up from the conversation several meetings ago about compensation for the mayor position and council member positions. If approved in the way it's written, the ordinance would increase the monthly stipend amount for, again, the mayor and council member positions. And again, if approved, the change would not benefit individuals currently holding office. Happy to answer any questions. This is a public hearing.
All right. Questions for staff? Just second reading, so it's, we've all been through the ring around with them.
Yeah, I think it's making it clear, like, when the first time we talked about this, the article in the paper insinuated it was a way higher price than it is. But so like if it's saying counselor is gonna be paid $267, we're currently at $250, so it's a $17 raise, just so people are aware, like it's not.
It's not as good.
Right, I just wanted that public to be aware of it, yeah. It's not a huge anything, but yeah.
The next mayor, whoever they are, 17 gets 10%. Okay, I'll open it up for public comment. Anybody want to comment on this ordinance? Either in the room or on Zoom? Seeing none, I will close the public comment. Bring it up here for discussion and motion.
I move to approve the ordinance of the town of Ridgway, Colorado, 05/2025. Amending chapter 2 of the Ridgway Municipal Code concerning compensation of town council.
Second. Motion made by Michelle, second by Kevin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimously, thank you. That takes us to policy matters. Item number 13, presentation of rights of nature annual report. Question and time.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'll just introduce this real quick and then pass it over to Tanya. So back in 2021, the board here adopted resolution number 21-09 in an effort to support the protection of the Uncompahgre River, its tributaries, and its watershed by recognizing the rights of nature and the town's responsibilities to care for and protect those rights. The written report before you serves as an annual update. We've been doing it since adoption of the resolution I just mentioned. It's an annual update regarding the health and the state of the river, tributaries, the overall watershed, and it also serves as an update on the realization of the rights of nature for the river and the watershed. So Tanya with the Uncompahgre Watershed Partnership was kind enough to provide us another report on the health and state of the river. She's been doing that the last several years. Thank you very much, Tanya. Appreciate it. And it's embedded in the report. She's here, can highlight anything she'd like in that report. I'm happy to answer any questions and really just want to say thank you again to Tanya for all the work on that.
Yeah. Thanks to you, John. You need to do this for us. No, it sounds that. Well, yeah, what you have to say for the meeting.
Yeah, and I'm not in love with my report, because I think it's hard to, report on the state of a river, especially annually, especially, unless something, like a hurricane that happened here or something. Of course, Beaver Creek diversion, as I mentioned in the report, something happened there, but that's not directly, tied to the Uncompahgre River, for a huge impact there, impacts our community quite a bit. So if I ever find out a way that I really enjoy reporting and that I think has more value, I will keep on trying to do that. In thinking about the report, I decided maybe recommendations would have been good at the end of it. And so I thought of a few minor recommendations this afternoon. And then I also have two projects kind of related. It's more to do with UWP and our recreation focus, our committee there, and the things that we'd like to do, which I think would benefit the river. So recommendations, several continues. Please continue your wastewater treatment improvements, continue using stormwater policies in your land use decisions, continue your growing water smart communications and irrigation updates, and continue collaboration with the county vegetation department to monitor, prevent, and remove invasive plants. All those things that the town is doing are definitely benefiting the river, and they're touched on slightly in different parts of the report. Also, you could ask Thorne, the company to come in and talk to you about what they're doing, because I feel like it's kind of a black hole that a lot of people with, Ridgway silver mines, even though the ending wasn't so great, they at least came in frequently to different, mainly to the county, but to whoever asked them and invited them, and they also made the effort to ask to be at different meetings. And it'd be nice to know with Thorne, you know, like what they're up to, and, since they're having difficulty with compliance with their permits and reporting on their permits, it'd be good for the community to know, and that's upstream from you, so that's a thought. Also, it'd be great, and we've already began this, Preston and I, is to connect the park staff with restoration specialists before you do the midwinter excavation this year. And we're planning that, so I'm going to call a few of the people that we called this earlier this year, and have them come back in before planning takes place, so that they can have more of an effect on that. And it's still hard to make long-term changes at Rollins Park each year, just due to how the river is. But I believe some of the restoration specialist ideas will at least help until there may be a decision to do something more long-term that could help even more. So that brings me to the two things for UWP. And maybe before I talk about these two projects that I'm hoping that and I have, you know, the direct asks about what I would expect from the town for these two projects for UWP. Do you have other questions about the state of the river report?
No, I thought it was great. It was very informative. Thank you.
I particularly like the flow chart.
Yeah.
Flow chart. I happened to be kayaking on the day it hit 1,000, and I'm glad to see that that was the only day.
Yeah, yep, exactly. 1,080 was like the highest it got this year. I've been liking to tell people a lot as we're trying to plan Riverfest for next year. We're thinking about a date change. We've had it the last Saturday of the month for the past several years. Before that, it changed more often. And because the peak flows are changing so much, and we're thinking about changing it anyway. But it's so interesting because 2 years ago, 2024, on June 28th, the peak flow was 1,380. This year, we had the Riverfest one day before or after, I forget, I guess it was before. And the flow in the river was 380 cubic feet per second. So it was 1,000 less. So it's really hard for us to pick a good date because.
What's the red on that chart? Is that danger or something? It's at the
January, February, there's.
A red dot, that's it.
Is that just a?
It's
Because
a
it's
unverified,
50?
it has something to do with the USGS data.
Yeah, how the USGS data does.
And I apologize, I didn't have my kids all enter last year, but we're gonna do it again this year. Classic.
Oh, we had.
Make them all look at some data.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. It's so, I like, watching flow data.
Did you have a
Sometimes
competition to guess the?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. 2 years ago, I had my earth science students enter and I
But
didn't.
should I have it again? Because literally 5 or 7 people entered the.
Well, you're gonna have at least 7.
You gotta-
Cause I'm gonna make.
I would double it. Okay, maybe I
could make my AP kids do it too, cause it'll be after the AP exams.
Yeah,
So you'll have, I can get you 15.
okay, great. Okay, well, that changes things.
Well, they're competing. I love it. It's great.
So I wanted to mention the two projects. So one, which I've been thinking about for, the Leave No Trace has 2 different programs. One's called the Hotspot, and that's a more intense program where they really, they did it at Blue Lakes before, a place that's in danger of being overloved. They go and they do an education campaign, but they do a lot more than that. And I've been thinking about that for Ironton as well. But then they have this other program called the Hotspot, and it's a smaller program, and it includes just a 3-day visit for the Leave No Trace people. And we do like a workshop on how to do Leave No Trace principles, and you do information about the river in the area, and you do outreach to people who are visiting the river, and so, or the hotspot. So I was thinking about it this year, and I was like, it'd be really cool now that we have, I mean, it's been building over the last few years, the inner tubers and the people who use our river right here. So I thought now with the business also renting, you know, I don't know whether you've heard the numbers, but 600 inner tubes they rented from June to August this year, and 400 duckies. I mean, so that's amazing that many people are. So I thought it's probably a pretty good time to do that. And then when I was reading up more about it, the only cooperation I really need from the town is to allow us to be on park property to set up those information booths. And if town staff or town council want to be involved in some of the planning meetings, they would be welcome as well, but it wouldn't really be required. The program requires you to have a co-host, but I read today, and that means you could have the host and co-host from the same organization. So UWP could have a board member and a staff member be organizing the whole thing. And we have that Recreation Allies of the Uncompahgre River Committee group, and they would definitely be able to help with that. So since we would be doing it on probably either Dennis Weaver Park or Rollins Park or both over that 3-day period, and it'd probably be somewhere May through July, we would pick a date. We could, you know, take your recommendations on that as well. I was wondering what you thought of that idea.
I like it.
It's a free program through Leave No Trace, but they do have to select you. So I will be applying by December 17th and we find out by the end of the year.
Great.
Great. Well, I think you get thumbs up from all of us.
Nice. And then, you know, I could get either the chamber or other organizations to participate as well. And then the other is related to the grant, and I believe Preston might have told you a little bit about this in a report a little while ago. I'm not sure, or in an email. But UWP applied for a grant with the Western Colorado Community Foundation to do a project called the Ridgway River Corridor Recreation Stakeholder Engagement. And the idea was we have our small roar committee, which is, you know, people who like to kayak on the river or, you know, best slope or waves. Other people who care about the river here, who meet regularly, and we talk about what we want for that river area. But I think it'd be great to pull in more of the community and ask them, like, what are the most important things in Ridgway from, you know, one side of the town limit to the other? Like, do you want the wave structure in the park fixed? Do you want it taken away? Like, because it's not very practical. You know, what kinds of things? And by the end, so we actually didn't get the grant at first, but then the foundation, they called me last week and they said that they're gonna give us that money through a donor advised fund. And so I'm hoping, because it's less of a strict grant, we can kind of play with the parameters of this project to make it fit what, you know, what we all want the best. But it's funding, and I'm not sure how much yet, somewhere between 5,000 and 7,000 to hire a facilitator to help me with that process, since I'm really busy with other UWP projects. And the idea would just be to like have maybe 3 community meetings, maybe only 2, do some surveys, and just get input from people. And it wouldn't be to do a project this year, but it would be to have, we've had the characteristic report of the river done in 2021, but it didn't say what the community really wants, you know, like you can always restore a river to have more fishing, you could restore it to have more recreation, you could restore it to have just no action, you know, like so that it's preserved in place. And this would kind of create a report on, you know, what the local community. And so for that one, the ask from the town, one was I was going to use most of the community grant that you would give us, which I believe just got approved, so I know that it's there to help fund that. So no extra funding beyond that. And then I'd like at least one council member to kind of join in those meetings and be part of it, if not more. And if the town feels it's useful and necessary, a staff member as well. And, you know, I could even keep the staff member updated on communications about planning for that. Because besides like what the community is interested in seeing happening, we also hope to do some like funding research, so we know like is the GoCo grant the best way to do the next project, that kind of thing, so that we have that information for the future.
Any other questions for Tanya? I always like to put a pitch in for the idea of actually having UWP become the guardian of the river. It could actually step up and represent the river in case of a legal action or development action. I know I've asked you about this before, and your board has been hesitant to consider that.
They might now, though, the board makeup has changed a little bit, and also just like, you know, going through a strategic plan, so it might be something.
That's great. I was kind of wondering if maybe that day would come when the board make up a change, and I thought there was more willingness, especially since it's been mentioned in the past. I've had a couple of individual community members express interest, and I think it would make a whole lot more sense and be less controversial if it was a community that were in push.
Yeah, than just one person, for sure.
So that's why I just. It's not a huge ask. It's not a big deal. I mean,
Kind of already doing all the more work than
Yeah,
what you required.
yeah.
and I guess there could be some controversial thing that could throw you guys into the frying pan, but I don't see it.
No.
So, yeah, think about it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
Are you asking for someone to participate in the meetings?
I mean. Yeah,
Whether now's the right time to.
if you want to, then I'll have it ahead of time, either that or you can pick it out and.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like you show.
Great, I'll do that. That'd be wonderful. Thank you. Okay, well, I'll be in communication with you about that, start of the day.
Okay, great. And my emails are
Yeah, I do.
Chief Brian, guys.
Yes.
I think one of the most interesting questions for me is that wage structure.
Yeah.
Whether it makes sense to teach it separate to the family.
Right.
Some people would say that it's more of a danger than it is.
Right.
Help to.
Exactly.
And some of your river experts might weigh in on how we might deal with that and changing. And of course, we're probably talking some big money potentially. Getting in the river anyway to do gravel removal would be something to think about.
And if that's creating some of the gravel issue.
It might be.
Yeah, a lot of gravel does go down into that spot, yeah, for sure.
There's always a giant island there. Just another thought.
Somebody has their hand up.
Well,
I did.
go ahead, Jake.
Hi, had a question about the rights of the river and if there is a river guardian appointed. I recall that was part of that designation of rights of the river, and just didn't know if we had anyone designated as that person.
We were just talking about that, so you must have stepped away or something. I've asked UWP a couple times in the past if they'd be willing to take that role. And the board at the time was made up of a group that wasn't sure they wanted to do it. Tanya has just told us that she thinks the board makeup is changing enough that they might be interested, so I asked her to take it back to. Because I think one of the things I said you may not have heard is that I think it makes more sense to have it be a group rather than an individual. So I've had a couple individuals in the community come up to me and suggest that they'd be willing to do it, but that seems inherently potentially controversial to have one person in that role with the potential for kind of an agenda that might not be the community's agenda. So having a group like UWP do it makes a lot of sense to me. So.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, sorry I missed it. Sometimes the audio's a little hard to hear when there are multiple people talking. So I just missed that bit. Thanks.
We're trying to do that. We got better mics and we keep working on it. So it's nice to hear the feedback that it still needs some tweaking. So thanks. Anything else? Thank you, Tanya.
Thanks, Tanya.
Takes us to.
Housing needs assessment.
Yes. Resolution number 2514, adopting a regional housing needs assessment in compliance with Senate Bill 174, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. This is pulling up my brief PowerPoint. So I can give some background to start if you want to go to the next slide. So this kind of came out of Senate Bill 24-174. It requires certain jurisdictions, including the town of Ridgway, to complete local housing needs assessments and housing action plans. So this is kind of a first step of a few housing projects. So that's part of the purpose, but the other part of the purpose is that the town hasn't participated in a housing needs assessment since 2011. And at that time, it was a larger region, so that included San Miguel and Erie County and all the municipalities within those areas. So this is a housing needs assessment that's regional. It includes Ridgway and Erie County. I think most people are aware of it because we had a presentation by Points Consulting, who's our consultant on this project, just about a month ago, a little less than a month ago. And then the project is partially funded by the Colorado Department of Local Affairs through their housing planning grant. And you can go to the next slide if you don't mind. So on screen is a timeline of the key points from the process. It includes like the survey launch dates, when the survey was closed, all of the deliverable dates and drafts. I just, again, will point out that November 20th was when Points Consulting gave a great presentation at the Decker Community Room, going over the key points from the assessment as well as the process. And that is a recorded presentation, so it can be accessed through Town's YouTube or through our website, I believe. And I'll kind of spare you from hearing all of that over again, but our economist consultants were happy with the survey participation to help fill in all the local data gaps. And the assessment's very data heavy. If you want to go to the next slide. This is just showing, this is like one of their slides from that November 20th presentation, showing the park setup when we were trying to get people to participate in the survey at the concert series, and then our flyer that we put out. And then like the, data heavy stuff is like talking about margin of error for that local data and the response rate for the adult population in Erie County. So yes, it is very data heavy. You can go to the next slide, but the report is filled with a bunch of graphics and charts to help people digest the complex information like this one on screen. Next slide. So Points left us with some really important conclusions from all of their data analysis, and they turned some of that into recommendations for the town and the county. So that we can work towards solutions to some of these issues. Obviously, these are not silver bullet solutions. They're just some tools for us to consider in future decision-making and policy actions. And if you don't mind, next slide. The last thing is that we sent DOLA, Department of Local Affairs, a preliminary version for a check against their guidelines or their guidance that they produced for this. So that they could give comments and make sure it was all compliant. And all of those final tweaks were made to make sure that the required information's included. So if some of the information seems like it doesn't really match what we need to know for Ridgway, it's probably required by the state. The final design version is complete and ready for your adoption consideration. And I just want to say I'm really pleased with the final result. And I also heard from Mark Castrodell of the county that they're also pleased. And so with that, staff recommends adoption of the resolution or approval of the resolution to adopt the housing needs assessment.
But it was data heavy, but it also was startling to see some of the statistics. I know we all have an intuition about what we would see there, but when you see those numbers, like, holy cow.
I think the one that blew me away was the 0% of Ridgway first-time home buyers to buy a home, but that was not the case. But that was not the case in your red. Right. That's what blew me away. I actually believed the 0. But I did not understand.
Well, your rate would be.
How your rate was different.
I agree.
That was
the same thing.
Yeah.
Other questions for Angie, comments by them? Nice work, just hold on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, but that's like 210 pages.
I know some highlights here if anybody's interested, but they went over all of this stuff.
They did, basically.
Yeah.
This is great.
That's good.
I move to approve resolution number 25-14, adopting regional housing needs assessment in compliance with Senate Bill 24-174 for the town of Ridgway.
Michelle, second by Kevin, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's the win, Mr. Penfield.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, real quick, I just want to give Angie a huge shout out for managing this. Arson and Brian with points and the rest of the team, they were dynamite. They did a fantastic job. And then the stakeholder committee, Michelle was on there. There were plenty of other people. So it's a lot of time and energy spent to get this product. So thank you all very much.
Yes, thank you, everybody, and thanks for coming on the 20th. That was.
That was great. All right. Moving on to item number 15, adoption of the 2026 5-year and 10-year capital improvement plans. Now, treasurer, John Andrew.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'll go ahead and just introduce this to start. You all are asked to review and adopt the 2026 5 and 10-year capital improvement plans. It's very in line with what you all adopted just several items ago. Both plans are organized by fund and outline a schedule of public expenditures. The plans provide for large physical improvements that are permanent in nature, that are needed for the functioning of the community, including things like parks, infrastructure, utilities, municipal facilities improvements, items that you all have prioritized during that budget planning process. Here over the last several months, but even before that. So happy to answer any questions about the 5-year and 10-year plans, but that's what's before you.
Okay, questions for staff? We've been working on this on and off for months now, so we'll see with it.
Just to reiterate what we discussed last time, if things look tight, and something doesn't jive,
We can
scratch, you can revisit, you can scratch, so no pressure.
Thank you.
All right, I can't remember these two separate things for 5 and 10 years or together.
It's together.
It's together.
I move to adopt the 2026 5 and 10-year capital improvement plans.
Second. Motion by Michelle, second by Terry, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously, thank you. That takes us to adoption of the 2026 strategic plan.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So you all are asked to review and make any final changes if you deem necessary to the 2026 strategic plan. An updated version has been provided to you all based on the conversation that happened at, I think it was last week's budget work session now. The plan is an effective policy document and a tool for all of us to implement the master plan, other adopted plans and special projects of the town council. It lays out the work plan for staff each year, and it does not account for all town council direction, unforeseen needs or opportunities, and other day-to-day service items or prioritized internal staff work. So I just want to be clear that, we're trying to be as comprehensive as we can with this document, but it doesn't account for all the things that we do. I've already made note of the items that Tanya brought up a little while ago related to the Leave No Trace campaign and the River Corridor stakeholder engagement piece or campaign. I know that it's probably going something different, but I think I'm capturing the essence. And if there's any interest in adding those to the strategic plan, just given the direction earlier, we can certainly add those and have it characterized as town participation and facilitation, if you will. So I've already made note of those. If everyone's okay with that, we can add those.
Absolutely, thank you.
I have one other item that Chris and I were talking about recently in a CML newsletter. I don't know if you guys read those, but one from 2 or 3 months ago had a model gray water ordinance, and Preston looked at it in more detail for me, and basically it was designed to kind of codify the restrictions on people using gray water for things like irrigation and stuff. And if you want to do something different, we'd actually have to create a whole regulatory framework to allow for people to use gray water for irrigation and whatnot. I would really like to see us do that, given the importance of the challenges we have with water and water, particularly for irrigation in my yard. I would love to see us do that. It's going to be a heavy lift, so it's probably something that might take more than a year, but it's something I'd like to see us have strategic.
So
is that something that we could have help with through the Live It, Love It, like our water Is there any technical assistance available through them?
Not to put together a regulatory framework, we can
Okay.
rely on folks at CDPHE and some, I don't know how many communities, so let's back up. So the model ordinance that the mayor was talking about is what a number of communities have used to continue to prohibit gray water systems. So I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that we understand that. There was a state law a couple of years ago now, maybe it was this last year, that kind of flipped the script. You have to either opt in or out. A lot of communities are opting out to continue prohibiting gray water for various reasons, including things like, but the backflow prevention piece and that stuff getting back into the system, that's a huge concern, especially at the state level. But for those who have like opted out, I can't remember which one it is, but they have maybe say opted in, they have to adopt some regulatory framework to allow a permitting process for these systems. And that's all through the standards and requirements set out through, they call it Regulation 86 at the state level. This is way more information than you wanted, I know, I'm just trying to paint a picture. And I think we do need to, it's good because we do need to come back at some point to have this conversation as to whether opt in or opt out. If we like opt in and we want to allow gray water systems in our town, then it's going to take a lot of stakeholder engagement and crafting of a framework that meets the requirements of Reg 86. I am 98% sure there is not a single permitted gray water system in the state of Colorado because it's super stringent and cost prohibitive. Based on how Regulation 86 is written, at least it was a couple of years ago. We've looked at this a few times over the years. Maybe that's changed, but I'm not sure. So I just want to throw that out there. But I think in the next few months, we can certainly, if you all are in agreement, nodding heads, we can add an item to the strategic plan to revisit the Regulation 86 gray water stuff to see where it should go.
Is there any value to having the SAB be involved in this? I mean, it's consistent with sustainability, but in terms of some of the workload and.
Yeah, at some point, yeah. I mean, it seems like a natural item for the SAB to, have a hand in somehow. Anyway, sorry for all the long-windedness. I hope that kind of makes sense, but I think from a staff perspective, it does make sense to add this to the strategic plan.
I think this is really awesome. And the other piece to consider is somewhere in the middle, when we talk about a regulatory framework, another intermediate step would be in Tucson, houses are required to be plumbed to be gray water ready. So an interesting, as we explore this, an interesting intermediate to consider would be some level of encouragement for that, even if we're not there yet. Because quite frankly, Colorado is going to have to address this at some point. If right now it's too prohibitive for us, if we think about climate change and as we move forward, eventually we're gonna get forced into considering gray water. So if we can create a framework where, everything's going into the sewer system now.
You can incentivize it.
Right, but much cheaper to consider it. Cause I did look into this, but it just wasn't a possibility. So that would be some way to future set us up.
Well, and it
future
might
success.
also be something that can't be used in the winter, right, because of the climate, and so the ability to turn it off.
So, anyway.
According to our friends on the internet, it says Broomfield has an ordinance.
They have the framework.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
but-
be better if we
He
could
said no
copy
one's
some
seen it.
ordinances.
I'm sure, I'm sure there's some other ones, but I don't know that there's any permitted system. You can have the framework and just sit around waiting for someone to pull a permit for it, you know what I mean? Sorry, folks, if you can say something.
No, I was gonna defend you. That's exactly what he said. That he didn't say that it's not allowed. He did say he didn't think there was.
Implemented.
If you don't like my jokes.
I read your joke.
Your daughter had a good joke.
Yeah, it was a.
How can we pile on, well, we're like not on topic. There's no way we can pile on CC.
No way.
No way.
You giggled. I thought it was good.
Colorado Waterwise says that Denver City and County has roughly 3 homes that have taken up.
Wait.
And he said 99.
I said I was 98% sure.
Town of Castle Rock, roughly 30 homes.
It just makes you
They
wonder,
have 30 homes that have permitted systems.
Well, I don't.
You ready for a motion?
See.
Mr. Mayor,
Pardon?
you ready for a motion?
I don't think we need a motion for this. To adopt, yes, to adopt.
With the addition of those three items.
I move to adopt the 2026 strategic plan with the addition of,
Three items.
the water projects, the gray water. And I forgot the second one.
Two things from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the three.
Oh, so both of those, both of Tanya's things and the gray one. So all water things.
Like I said, Colorado's gonna have to develop something.
Oh, second.
Sorry, Michelle. I got distracted, there's a lot of them.
Motion made by Michelle, second by Kevin, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
I'm gonna make this next motion too.
Thanks, Angie.
Thanks, Angie.
Thank you.
Good night.
She knows that we cut the master plan. Anyone tell her?
She just got back from Hawaii, so let's not tell her yet.
Okay.
All right, item number 17, review and action on agreement for legal services with Mr. Bo James Newland, Esquire.
Bo James Brown PC is my name.
Take it away.
Yeah, same contract as last year. The only change is our private rate has gone up. So the town rate remains the same, but our chargeback rate is $3.25. So.
Okay. Any questions for Bo?
I already asked him if he's gonna be there on Saturday and he's not.
Well,
What?
then we should
Well, I
reconsider.
can't bill for it, so.
Oh, that's such a lawyer.
Sorry.
Ready for motion?
Prior.
Good job. Any comments from the audience, either on Zoom or in the room, we're down to their room in there. Go ahead.
I move to approve the professional services agreement between the town of Ridgway, Colorado and Bo James Nerland, PC.
Second.
Well, thank you. Motion made by Michelle, seconded by Josie, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Takes us to item number 18, review and action on order. Yes, thanks, Bo.
We'll miss
I'd be
you.
happy to stay on board.
You don't have to next year when I confess.
Review and action on order extending the declaration of local disaster in and for the town of Ridgway relating to Beaver Creek diversion. I think Preston has some info on this, in light of what we've gone through over the course of the year and where we are in the budget.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So, as you all know, the town currently has a disaster declaration in place related to the flood and debris flow, that took out our water diversion infrastructure at the Beaver Creek diversion point, or the head gate, if you will. The disaster emergency declaration was extended, several times and was last extended last February, and it expires tomorrow. While we've gone ahead and drafted another order extending the declaration of disaster to kind of made up July of 2026 at this point, staff does not recommend that you all adopt the order and extend the disaster emergency. We're well into the recovery, resiliency, rebuilding phase by way of the project that you all have heard quite about, a lot about over the last several months. Meridian is currently demobilizing for the winter, and they're expected to be off the site by the end of this weekend. The command screen is in place. They will remobilize in the spring and wrap up that scope of work, or aim to wrap up that scope of work prior to high runoff, and that Coina screen is currently diverting water into Ridgway ditch, which is pretty darn cool. I've consulted with a number of individuals about the need to extend the disaster declaration, and everyone has concluded that there's not a need to extend that declaration, and it's okay to have it expire or lapse. And just to be clear, I'm talking about consulting with, state folks, funding agency representatives, all the people that we really needed to make sure it wouldn't jeopardize, funding or any other resources for the town through the duration of continuing to rebuild this thing. So that includes Bobby Lucero. You all might remember her from last time. She's the regional field manager for the West area with the state's Office of Emergency Management. Clinton Whitten, who's the Emergency Watershed Protection Program Manager for the state of Colorado with the Natural Resources Conservation Service. Joshua Godwin, he is our devoted project manager with the finance section of the Colorado Water Conservation Board. And then finally, Elsa Henry, the Recovery Grants Manager with the state's Office of Grants Management, heard directly from all those folks. Just want to make sure it's on the record and paint the picture of who we've consulted with. That's all I have.
So if I can hear you correctly, the staff recommendation is to not worry about reinitiating this, just let it die.
Correct. I did not check with Bo James Nerlin PC. Oh, I did, right.
PC guy.
I did, you're right,
We
sorry.
can always extend it retroactively if we need to in the
We
future.
discussed having this.
I forgot.
Now.
We did discuss this.
You're right.
How can I bill for it? Sorry, it's getting old. No, we did discuss it. We thought that rather than letting it expire on its own, having this as an agenda item so that it's getting the word out there in terms of the progress of the project. Letting the public know through newspaper coverage in this meeting that we are making some progress. And yes, there's not believed to be a need to kind of extend the emergency declaration.
Great.
Great.
Are we all in agreement?
Progress.
Yeah, I move we do nothing.
Thanks for managing that down to the, like, being up there and installing pipe this past summer, Preston.
So does that screen need to be cleaned off? How do you do that in the winter? Can you access it?
It's gonna be difficult to access in the winter, but yeah, there's a screen there that'll collect, the larger aggregate and material and stuff. Joanne's online and she wants to, tell you all about it, but yeah, it will definitely need to be cleaned out.
Probably less than even winter.
And that's without, you're right, and then that's without even talking about the infiltration gallery, which is an entirely different mechanism to capture the water underground. So yeah, there's a lot there.
Okay.
Thanks, y'all.
Did you know this much about water intake systems prior to this experience?
No, definitely not. Definitely, yeah. Learned quite a bit, but I'm sure even Joanne and Ron have learned quite a bit too, but
Yeah.
they kind of always know everything.
All right, well, that I believe takes us to town meeting report, another verbal meeting report. If we want to highlight your report, Christie?
The new pins are here. Got new pins in front of you, take as many as you like.
Just
They're
like
kinda cool.
Alpine.
Just like the Alpine bank pins that we all love. They're EcoCycle, and I don't have to say the name of this foundation, but they come out with the annual State of Recycling and Composting in Colorado report. They just released that recently, so I haven't read it yet, but it's in here. Check it out if you have some time. Hopefully rates have gone up.
Just Coburg.
Just Coburg. Okay. Good to know. I guess I could have tried to figure that out. It's not in here, but I just want to make sure that everyone's on board with continuing the Adopt a Highway cleanup and that program. Our agreement with CDOT expires next month, I think, and so it requires us to re-up, if you will, for another 2 years. Just want to, before we re-up.
We talked about like if you can't attend, you need to find someone to replace you, because it sucks to be like 3 or 4 people doing 4 miles,
What?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, we were saying like, if we're gonna continue this as a board, then it should be like, if you can't make it, you need to find someone to go in your place, because I feel like. And I led this last one, but like every one I've done has been 3 or 4 people doing the 4 miles, and it's just a lot for.
We talked to Preston about opening it up to maybe volunteers from the community or the sustainability committee, and but maybe having some people join us.
Youth advisory council.
I do want to share out though, that's not the town council volunteering to do it. And there is perhaps a question of, is 7 busy people a sufficiently large group to do this twice a year and organize the date? But I do have sort of a concern about just holding other portions of town leadership if we're gonna put on the sign, it's Ridgway Town Council. And I admit, I've been gone the last 2 times, I'm sorry.
Maybe we just get what's on the sign.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we should budget for a new sign.
Ridgway Town Council and friends.
Yeah, seriously, I can beat that, and friends.
The other thing I would throw out is that, in the past, when, you know, at least 6 out of the 7 of us are there, it's manageable. I mean, we used to have Tom and Kathy come in and help us. So I don't.
The 2 years I've been on, I've never done it with Tom and Kathy, and I've never seen 6 people there, so.
Yeah, well, you're relatively new to. But it's a good point, and I also think one way to address that is to, plan it a little further in advance and have a little more opportunity to pick a date that works for everybody.
Maybe include the town attorney.
That would be expensive.
That's.
Go for it.
But like, we should schedule the spring one now, because if you've seen the makeup of my 2026,
26.
I can maybe squeeze it in. Fall will be better.
Okay, good to know. I mean, we've attempted, I mean, John, you can talk to, trying to get the youth advisory council to do it. We plugged that really hard in the last few years and we can't mandate that they do it. So we do, you brought up the youth council, that low hanging fruit we've tried. We can certainly try it with the Sustainability Advisory Board, Planning Commission, anybody else, Hughes.
All committees.
Just to like, but there's no guarantee that anyone's going to volunteer.
It's just to imitate, being able to invite them is worth.
So then is the town going to buy pizza after?
Yeah.
Or we could get a lot more participation easily through.
Free beer.
Right, beer and pizza. Helps. I mean, I guess I would just throw, is there interest in re-upping and see how it goes, or is there anybody that would rather see us just play laps?
I would like to see us re-up, continue the program, and we can kind of come up with volunteers and figure it all out. When we are there, generally we do enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
And laugh, and it's fun, and I've always enjoyed the time together.
I agree.
I don't mind doing it when I'm there, it's just
We can
finding.
laminate people that help and stick it at the bottom of the sign.
I am gonna start out, like, you know, we think about serving on boards and serving on things and. It's another half day.
It is.
I'm just happy to do it if you guys all wanna do it.
I'm fine not nipping it, cause I'm really
I'm
busy
not-
on Saturdays with kids' sports this time part of my life, but
Yeah,
it's
I
soccer.
think we should look open attend.
okay, let's sign up for 2 more years and reach out and see what we can drum up and go from there.
I mean, how do we allow Tom and Kathy to do it? Just-
They make us volunteer.
Yeah,
That's just, goodness, their hearts.
actually, were they the ones that suggested that maybe we should? Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how, but,
They organize 1 or 2 a year anyway, with that,
yeah,
and like
exactly,
about 8 people or something show up for that.
yeah.
And I don't know how many more years they're able to do it. They're getting up there in years, so. It sounds to me that there's consensus to try for 1 more year,
We have to sign up for
It's
2.
a 2-year commitment.
2 more years,
I'm willing to show up.
and, where's that? I'll open up.
I don't need beer, but pizza.
Start planning in March or something. Maybe.
Yeah, and we know, I know,
February.
it was my
Well, just so we can pick dates.
So I can put it on my calendar.
For a month, so we
Yeah.
can figure it out.
It was my first time this year, but it was bluegrass weekend, so we wanted to avoid that.
Yes,
And
the bluegrass
everything's
is
pretty
perfect.
thrown in, so I think
Yeah.
if it's possible to hit it earlier is better.
Yeah, I think we should.
And avoid festival days.
Yeah.
Where there's
Yeah.
high
Yeah,
traffic.
bluegrass
It
was
is,
scary.
it is a little unnerving
That
to
was
be on
bad.
that shoulder of the road.
Yeah, it's not, it's not easy. So, yeah, we'll re-up the agreement. I'll send out a doodle poll sooner rather than later to set a date. Did you guys someone say March?
I don't know.
April.
Still snowy.
Yeah, I just mean, like, send me the
April or
rules
early
Dates.
Sooner.
ASAP.
Early May at the latest.
Got it, thank you. I'll add a couple more things. The construction level documents for the new baseball fields and pickleball courts is nearing 100% design. We should have those documents within the next, I don't know, kind of making this up, week to 10 days from DHM Design. They've done a tremendous job working through their scope of work, and should have those plans to us, and they will be ready to go and, really be sitting on a shelf and on our server until the time comes that we can move those forward. So huge shout out to Walker Christensen and Stephanie T with DHM. They were really cool to work with. Let's see, there's plenty of other information in the report. I guess I will throw out that there's going to be an open house related to the affordable housing regulations that have been in the pipeline for quite some time, came before you a number of months ago, and were essentially tabled for additional, there's a desire to see additional community outreach and just to make sure they're where they need to be, but it'll be held January 22nd, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Decker Room. I can send out a calendar invite if there's any interest in that. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, CC. Any questions for Preston?
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
What did we decide about CC's job? We have to go easy because CC's.
No, do not, you're gonna take the idea.
It's the best job.
I laughed.
Absolutely, like, it was great.
I just didn't know fish had emotions.
I mean, our river has pronouns.
Great. Yeah, planning commission's canceled next week. We have a party Saturday night. I'm excited about that.
Is everyone gonna be there?
I'm trying to change my flight because I'm not supposed to get in until 8:10 p.m. So I'm trying to see if I can get in at the noon flight instead.
Good luck. Hope it happens.
I'll be there. Looking forward to see you guys.
Yeah.
I will not. I think either people aren't saying or they'll be there.
I got out a spotlight.
Yeah.
Of course, Pam's. She organized them. And thank you for doing that.
Yep.
All right, Terry, you have a SAB report?
SAB mostly focused on what went into the strategic plan on the last meeting, so there's nothing really more to add. That was the focus of the last meeting, was clarifying the work plan, which got filtered in the strategic plan.
All right, well.
Eileen, you just hanging out? Anything you want to talk about?
I just wanted to hear what people had to say.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for being
And with my very expensive new hearing aids, I really can't follow. I should probably be home on Zoom.
Thank you for coming.
It's time to.
This is the new owl.
Yeah.
It looks like an owl.
So we're gonna get it all report, so we can go a little more certain. I think I'll make that forward. Unless there's anything else we can do in the order, I will declare us adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Larry.
This is Saturday.
You. From dinner twice in this room. Having for a long time.
Something with that late.
Yeah.
I think we should. I was. I